At the outset, I would like to thank Professor Darurkar and Professor Biplav and Professor Divakar for setting the stage for an interesting and insightful discussion on a very pressing, or I would rather say, a very vital topic and very relevant and contemporary topic that has been really plaguing us and is actually we are looking for solutions to this particular issue. Policy options and programs for enhancing social and gender inclusivity in the digital ecosystem. As far as policy options and programs for enhancing social and gender inclusivity is concerned, as Professor Darurkar has rightly pointed out, the Constitution has provided some safeguards, and time and again, successive governments have come forward with certain policies and programs to ensure that there is a greater element of inclusivity of gender, and also a great amount of stress has been laid on enhancing the social and gender inclusivity component. But as we are all aware, we are living in a digital ecosystem. Like it or not, it is a necessary evil, I would say, just like the internet is one. We are living in a digital ecosystem which has its own dynamics on one hand and which has its own pitfalls on the other hand, I would say. Now, when we talk of the digital ecosystem, we are well aware that the digital ecosystem we are living in is replete with dangers for women, sexual minorities, and vulnerable communities, especially in this age of fake news and AI. And fake news circulation remains one of the biggest dangers, I would say, and this needs to be curbed by regulation of social media platforms and ensuring their algorithm is not favoring certain political outcomes or hate speech. So the challenge before us is how do we bring or how do we ensure that the governments of the day will come forth with an algorithm that is not particularly favoring particular political outcomes or hate speech. And how do we emerge or how do we come up above this danger of fake news circulations, and what kind of regulations can the governments come forward which will ensure that these things can be curbed at an infancy stage so that they do not pose any problem to gender, particularly to inclusivity as such. And today we are seeing examples of deep fakes. And I'm sure you have already seen images of noted celebrities, of the deep fake images, which have created quite a few ripples in our society. And you are aware that AI generated images and deep fakes especially are already very photorealistic. And this is the worrying part. These AI generated deepfake images are so photorealistic, unless we have certain specific tools or filters on popular social media platforms, it will be very difficult for us to tell what is real from what is fake. So realistic these images are that we are seeing on the social media platforms. And we have reached a stage where it is difficult for us to differentiate between whether these images are fake or they're real. Now, many Indian outlets have already tripped on this in the sense that they have carried AI generated images as real pictures. And mind you, this is not some small town publications, but reputed news and media outlets have carried AI generated images assuming that they were real pictures only to retract later. But the damage is done. The images have been carried. Any amount of retraction can only partially undo this damage. So over time, when these kind of things get repeated, such things will erode public trust in media even more. Already, the public trust in media is eroding a bit. But practice of this kind of penetration of fake images over the time will erode the public confidence in media even more. But At the same time, as I believe that every challenge brings an opportunity, it also, however, offers opportunities for automating mundane aspects of businesses and outreach, allowing smaller operations run by social minorities or vulnerable groups to match the resources of legacy operations by AI automation and using digital technology. Now, I would like to kind of sum up my presentation here by saying that, as Professor Divakar was earlier pointing out, uh, why not we run a series of community training centers? It could be not just the government's responsibility to run these community training centers, wherein we, the people, are familiarized with the pros and cons of the existing digital ecosystem. Once we get to know the kind of digital ecosystem that we are living in, it becomes easier for us to be aware of the pitfalls as well, so that we take our own initiatives to avoid falling into the trap of AI generated fake news images. So, my sincere request is that governments and NGOs must come forward, set up community training centers where people can be trained in the existing digital ecosystem that we are living in, and what kind of measures should be taken by us to avoid falling into this trap of fake news and AI generated images. So, with this, I would like to hand over my mic to the next speaker.